On his behalf, where is Mutunga Daktari?
I'm here.
Oh yes, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank all the members of this House who have contributed to this motion. Honorable Speaker, the pricing differentials was a huge issue in this House just before we went for the last recess, for the December recess. And that is what led to expansion of the committee in cooperation of some of the members who are extremely vocal about the issues of pricing, and therefore we formed a larger committee to go and look into these issues. Honorable Speaker, the matters of tea needs to be discussed as matters of the heart. Tea is produced all over this country in quite a number of counties. It is amazing that we have a dichotomy that KTDA factories to the west of the Rift Valley get less pay as compared to the KTDA factories to the east of the Rift Valley. But Honorable Speaker, that doesn't mean that there are no factories in the west of the Rift Valley that are getting better prices, because they are there. Honorable Speaker, we agreed with the members who were extremely vocal about the pricing issue and bring about all sorts of explanations that we change direction. Those of us who come from the east of the Rift Valley to go to the west, and those who come from the west of the Rift Valley to go to the east. When our colleagues from the west of the Rift Valley went to the east, it took them 1.5 days of exposure, and they were satisfied. That is because they realized the problem is not really with the KTDA as an institution. The problem is not with the farmers, as it were. The problem is a compounded issue based on disregarding the quality. And that is why, Honorable Speaker, I understand to say, doing away with the KTDA, and I'm not a member of KTDA, I produce some tea, Honorable Speaker, but I cannot stand here to defend KTDA. But let me tell you something. Honorable Speaker, before I became a member of Parliament, on 3 occasions, global conferences, KTDA model was given as an exemplary model, one that has really performed wonders in the world. And many tea growing countries were guided to come to Kenya and stand in from the KTDA, which means KTDA does the right thing. But if a few factories decide not to do the right thing, if they decide to take choices, if they decide to advantage their farmers through very cheap prices, and if they decide to have alternatives, then Honorable Speaker cannot blame the institution, because more than half of the factories under KTDA are doing extremely well. The other half is not doing well because of compounded issues which we laid out yesterday. And I'm happy because members can be able to see this. But for those who think KTDA is the problem, I would urge them to dig deeper, try to understand the issues, and accept the fact that if people are not delivering quality, they should be prevailed upon to deliver quality. Honorable Speaker, a few issues came out yesterday, and I'd like to highlight only 2 of them. One of them is picking any variety that comes by because it is high producing, without caring on the other qualities that are that at the end of the day add up to the measure of quality. Have in mind varieties that are high yielding, varieties that do very well in most of the agroecologists, but then they have different fermentation requirements as most of the other varieties. When you make such tea, then you produce processed tea or made tea of poor quality, because part of it will not be fully fermented. On the other hand, Honorable Speaker, tea that we sell to the rest of the world is not necessarily used to make it's not a raw material. It is a product that is ready for consumption. If it is a product that is ready for consumption, we cannot force people to take what they think is not of good quality. So people will prefer tea from certain factories, and indeed, Honorable Speaker, some factories have sold their tea for 2028. They have sold their tea in advance. They have got it into the futures market. Already it is booked. You are told what you will produce in 2028 you shall buy. We pay part of it. Others have got their tea lying in Mombasa because they have decided to be indisciplined. Honourable Speaker, I'll highlight the last point. And this is about discipline in terms of the management of the factories themselves, which comes in 3 ways. Number one, the composition of the board members of the factory. The committees at the factory level. It is important to have people who have knowledge. It is important to have people who have interest. It is important to have people who have experience in the management of a factory, and especially the tea factory. Because it has to do with management of the processor itself and management of the farmers and farmers' dues. The collection, the entire continuum of collection and processing and marketing. So if you put people who have never gone to who are not sufficiently educated to be in charge of the factory, and I have nothing against anyone on a speaker. And in this country, sometimes we stand and say that anybody can do anything. It is wrong. If somebody doesn't know, they don't know. If they have no experience, they cannot inform, they cannot guide, they cannot advise. So you will find this happening a lot in the west of the Rift Valley. We have another issue on our speaker. In their appointment or selection or rigging in, or whatever method they use to put the members of the factory, the board members or the directors in, they hinge a lot on the populace. Who is populace? Who is most populous around? Not necessarily who is producing the best tea. When you go to the east of the Rift Valley, they will ask, what experience does he have? What is the size of his farm? Has his tea ever been rejected? But on this other side, they will pick anybody because you have such a backing. We should not politicize tea. Tea as a commodity needs to come out as clean, good quality, because people will pay for what they consider to be good enough. For in alone, I'll speak at the added costs on the same. Those factory the directors decide to have conflict of interest. Instead of allowing the factory to run under the guidance of the management body, which is now the KTDA, they bring in influences. You have to get my vehicles. We store vehicles of the factory and then hire somebody's vehicles to collect tea. First of all, you are holding the vehicles of the factory. Then you get other vehicles. It's a double investment on our speaker. It's double input. On the other hand, some of them want their wood to be bought. Others want, so much to be done for them instead of allowing the factories to run appropriately. So, our speaker, it is a bit surprising that the members who are very vocal are not in this house to debate this report today. And I think some of these issues can be very emotive until the house was charged to a point of even imagining that the committee is not committed to its work. The committee members do not just do their work. The committee members are very well informed in matters tea, and therefore they have produced this report. And with those very few remarks, Honourable Speaker, I wish to reply. Thank you very much.
Yep. What else? Honourable members,